Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a pre-Labor Day edition of Focus with Ron Frierson. I am your host, Mr. Ron Frierson, and to my left, I have my brother, Mr. Woody Wilson here.
What's up? I got a screen from around across the room because my mic is out.
Oh, your mic is out. Maybe we did that on purpose.
Is that what you did?
It's a conspiracy. We know how you like to speak, and you have a big mouth, and they could probably.
Oh, there I go. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday.
Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon. Damn.
Hey, everyone. We really appreciate you taking the time to start your weekend with us, especially your Labor Day weekend. I know some of you guys are probably in the car right now taking a road trip to the destination of your choice.
Safe travels.
And safe travels to you. Have fun this weekend. Hey, it's a lot happening right now, and usually summertime is typically slow for most things because most people are vacationing, but our numbers
Kids
are
back
still
to school.
Exactly. Our numbers are still really high. And keeping with our format, I usually start off the show with my rant. And my rant today is based on one premise, and it's going to flow easily into our first topic. And that rant is, don't choose whether or not a message is valid based solely on the messenger. Meaning this is that sometimes, I can't remember who said it, that from the mouths of babes and clowns come the truth or something like that. Meaning that you can get the most honest and some real nuggets of wisdom from some unlikely sources. So that unlikely source in this case is Colin Kaepernick.
Wow.
So
I like Colin. I have a new respect for Colin.
I have respect for his bravery and what he has to do, because in many respects you have to be careful when you are an employee. Yeah, he's making millions of dollars, but he's still an employee. I
think he took that in consideration before he made
so that's
move.
why the bravery is to be commended.
Exactly.
But also what tends to happen is, depending on the topic that they choose to champion, people will start to break him down or try to judge him as the individual more so than the message that he, through his platform, is trying to convey.
And that's already started.
It's gone really deep. But this happens. This happens to, especially, unfortunately with minorities, especially. It can go this. When I first started the show, I actually started with my good friend Billy Davis, my brother Billy. And he had a show here, Champions Row, and we would talk about certain issues. I believe one of our topics was, the discrepancies in certain sports and how these athletes in these particular sports are looked at differently. Like in regards to the NBA players, some people say how they're making all this money and they should be happy with this money they're making. But no one takes into account that
the sacrifices
baseball,
they make.
Well, not just that, but the baseball, which is predominantly white, how it's no big thing for them to have $400 and $500 million contracts.
Yeah, $38 million a year contract.
It goes completely under the radar. No one says, "Oh, they're overpaid." It's just part of the game.
Well, they are starting to put up a little fuss about that now. They're trying to cap baseball. Which, listen, and it's all the folks that aren't getting the money are the ones trying to cap it. I don't understand that. It's not the league. It's not the.
The bigger point is that there's not a mass cry from the public for these sports as it is, the same as it is for the sports that are dominated by African Americans. It's the same thing with tennis.
Well, they're all capped, aren't they?
No, tennis. No,
not tennis. But
what I was going to say about tennis,
the ones that are dominated by African Americans, like football.
Man, let me finish my point.
Okay,
please.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I keep.
The point is the same thing in regards to football or basketball, in regards to the age and how you have the in basketball, they have to be at least 19 or 20, so that's why you have all these one-and-dones. But there's no such age requirement when it comes to baseball. There's no such age requirement when it comes to tennis. In sports that are normally not predominated by minorities, these age restrictions don't apply. But the ones that are minority-dominated, it's all these different things that seem to apply. So
that's interesting. I haven't thought about that.
So
way.
all that being said, because I don't want to get off on that topic, what Colin Kaepernick is talking about, and which I'm glad that he and our producer Jarvis mentioned this, but right before the show, is that he's to each his own. I've always been to each his own, and it doesn't matter what shade of skin you are, what ethnicity you are. I've always said if you're not hurting anyone and you do have your rights, your First Amendment right to freedom of speech, say what you want to say.
Right.
And especially if you're not purposely offending anyone. He's speaking about his beliefs about the inequities within our social system. He's talking about social justice. No, he doesn't have to be the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King to be able to speak intelligently on these certain things. He doesn't have to have a squeaky clean image in order to speak on this. He can speak from his perspective based on his knowledge base, given his platform. And if you disagree, fine, disagree. But at least acknowledge his right to be able to express himself. What do you think about that, Woody?
Well, the feedback or the drawback from this is that his sponsorships can go away. But I think if folks just stop and wait a minute, the military veterans got involved and said that you're not saluting the flag, you're disrespecting United States veterans. And look, folks, do you realize that you fought for the rights for freedom of speech, for someone like Colin Kaepernick to be able to protest and bring attention to something that needs as much focus as possible, and that's the treatment of young black men in America by officers, by these bad officers, and they're not all bad. But for you not to get the message, and I've heard commentaries where folks are making it a black and white thing,
which shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, because it's not. He is just trying to draw attention to the issue at hand. And, it's disappointing to see America's reaction on one side. People are burning his jerseys. And I hope that his sponsors don't back out in response to this, because there really is no – and if they do, I'm gonna pay close attention to who they are and not support them.
And sometimes I think that when you
they're not
take
understanding the purpose.
And sometimes when you take a stand – in my opinion, if you take a stand about something that if it's rectified, it will truly make us a much better country, then I think that you are being patriotic. And the thing is our soldiers are without doubt our heroes, because they don't ask.
And it's not even about them.
Yeah. It's in a way, it's not about them like any sort of indictment on them, but they are, because it doesn't matter what administration, it doesn't matter what they salute the flag, and whoever is the policy maker that makes a decision for us to become involved in any way, shape, or form around the globe militarily, they follow those orders and they do it diligently, and we have the best military that the world has ever seen.
That's right.
So no one should, and I'll be one of the first people to defend our military. It's the policymakers that put our military and put our soldiers in positions of war unnecessarily. Those are the ones that should be criticized. So what I'm glad that he's doing is that he's clarifying where he has his grudge. His grudge are with policies and certain institutions that have led to social injustice, and he's speaking on that. But he's letting it, he's making it known that he supports our military, which he should, which we all should.
And he had to do some clarification because people were running wild with the story. And not understanding the purpose.
And so I think that, me personally, I've always wondered why, and not all Republicans, but I wonder how is it that many of the Republicans get the support of military families, how they were able to co-opt that, when it seems that in the past Republican administrations, they've been the first ones to put our military and
put our boys at risk, boots on the ground.
At risk. I mean, really putting them in very difficult situations. If anything, I am of the mindset that we have the best. So use the best when it's necessary.
But they want to blame Hillary Clinton for Benghazi when the Republicans have started with how many wars? 3 in the last century?
Yeah, and then taking care of them when they return. In my opinion, when you go to fight for this nation, in many ways, shapes, and form, you are putting your life on the line for your country. So I think you should have access to the best health care. You should have access to
Without
education.
a doubt.
You should do all this. And all this stuff is done with taxpayer money, but you're dealing with a party that doesn't like taxes. Then how are you going to pay for that?
Right.
You know, it's like one thing or the other. It's like they need to be taken care of in this respect. I mean, because we have an all-volunteer army. Now, there's some people that make the argument that because we have an all-volunteer army, it's usually better for us to have a segment of our population that doesn't do as well, and that means that they won't have any option but to go into this all-volunteer army.
Draft,
in order to
right?
have it. No, yeah, we don't have a draft.
Right.
And
but
because
so you're just saying that their income would just force them to basically go into
it's one of the few
military.
options they have because they can't afford college, and our military is shrinking because it is an all-volunteer military. So the way that you can kind of funnel people into the military is to have certain segments of our population that,
and that's
much,
and I would imagine that's the majority is minority.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Army, the foot soldiers in the Army is.
Yeah.
I'm
Minority.
not talking about special forces, and I'm talking about the Marine Corps and these specialized units or Navy officers or Air Force.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the rank and file Army, the first round, so to speak. It's primarily made up of minorities.
You get a job based on the outcome of the test. There's a screening process before you join the military, so you have to take a series of examinations so they can determine where they're going to place you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you land as a foot soldier, that's where you are.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
got a
Woody. It
call,
looks like we have a call. Caller, could you give me your name and the city you're calling in from?
Caller, are you there? Caller,
Hello?
are you there? Yes.
Hi, caller, you
Hello?
there? Hi, could I have your name and the city you're calling in from?
Yeah, my name is Freddie Verzosa. I'm the father of the 7 angels.
Hey, Freddie, how are you? Thank you
doing?
for calling. Really appreciate your call.
No problem, sir.
Father of the Southern Angels, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, do we know what that is? Can you explain who the Southern
Miss
Angels
Tammy Stefano had spoken to me before.
Say again?
Tammy Stefano,
Uh-huh.
she knows who I am.
Okay,
She's familiar with the case.
are you calling in?
I'm the father of the 7 children that was removed almost 2.5 years ago. That was basically discrimination and every possible thing you can imagine.
Are you calling into Focus with Ron Frierson? Do you have the right show? I think you may have dialed the wrong number.
Well, yeah, what show were you trying to call into?
Well, I got a note in here. I'm trying to help the Rembers family about the CPS in Texas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Children.
I think you have the wrong number.
Well,
Thank you. Thanks for.
Hey, Freddie, thank you for calling in. I think we got the lines crossed here at the studio, so I apologize for that. You called into Focus with Ron Frierson. Thank you, and have a good one, okay?
Bye-bye.
Have a great holiday weekend.
Yeah.
All right, so, Freddie, we got the lines crossed, and Freddie called in.
To the wrong show.
Yeah, he did. But the fact that he's participating is a great thing.
Yeah, but our military is the greatest ever seen before, and props to our military. But what Colin Kaepernick was doing has nothing to do with the military. There's no disrespect. I don't think he meant any disrespect to the military, and he's just trying to bring attention to the issue at hand. So I think folks, just really look and understand what's going on before you make assumptions.
That's very true. So with Colin Kaepernick, and for those who don't know, he has refused to stand and sing and salute the national anthem.
He's a quarterback for the 49ers.
Yes, and by him refusing to do so, he's caused a huge backlash. But also by him refusing to do so, he's brought the spotlight to himself and trying to bring awareness to the social injustice and inequities found in our minority communities across the country, including police brutality. Now, he has done some things to step on his own feet in regards to wearing, I guess, at training camp, they had him with socks on, and the socks had the image of pigs with police caps on, which doesn't do him any favors. But this is one of those deals, and he says it's only in regards to bad cops, which we all understand there are bad cops. But
there are bad cops.
Yeah,
but there's good cops.
But there's
more good cops than bad.
But the way he went about it, it needed to be fine tuned, and I think that he's done that. So would I do what he's doing? I think that would
you? That's a question I have for you.
Would I?
Would you, in being in his position, knowing how much he has to lose? I mean, multi-million-dollar contracts. Incidentally, he's going to donate the first $1 million that he makes this year to charity. By the way, he just made that announcement. But if you were Colin Kaepernick, would you stand to lose tens of millions of dollars by standing up and protesting in this manner?
If I were to do it or not, it wouldn't be because of the money. I'm not one of those guys that loves money. I know the benefits of having money, and I respect money, and I like money, but not one of those guys that would love the money. So if I decided to do it or not, the whole financial risk or reward, that wouldn't be the reason. The thing is that by nature, I'm more free flow. I'm more chill. Now, if it were to have affected someone close to me, a friend, a family member, if it had touched me in any way, shape, or form in my existence, in my orbit, then yes, I would. I mean, because having that platform, and if something happened to a close friend of mine, or a friend, it doesn't have to be a necessarily close friend, or a friend of mine, or if something happened to someone in my family, and that was touched by this, and obviously if something happened to me, then money be damned. You do what you need to do. So I can't say whether or not I would have done that for certain. But if he's moved to this point, because everything with everyone, once you get to a certain point financially, and you get used to the money. We all want to be rich. We all want this and the other. But just imagine if you're rich, and once you get all the toys you want, it's going to be fun for a while.
Yeah.
All the toys, all the houses, whatever. But after you get used to it, humans have an amazing ability to get used to stuff. We get accustomed to things. And once you get used to it, you'll find out that stuff won't make you happy.
People get used to crack all the time. But I'm telling you, if it comes down to $10 million, if I'm calling Colin Kaepernick, first of all, I'm thinking about my family in terms of my income, right? Because that's basically how your family survives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for the fact, and I know he sat down and had this conversation with himself. What do I stand to lose? And money had to be at the top of the list, or sponsorships had to be at the top of the list in terms of the potential for losing them and losing his job. So for this guy to stand up to the world and protest in this manner, my hat's off to you, because you obviously really believe what you are standing up for. And I appreciate it as an African American, and have fallen victim to some of the brutality of these bad police officers out there. I appreciate you drawing further attention to it. And, hats off to you, my man. I mean, that takes a lot. That takes some big kahunas to do that. And,
Yeah, that's true. And obviously because of his sincerity, I take my hat off to him, too, because this is not a situation where he's just looking for the spotlight.
Because as you know, it was dissipating in the news. It wasn't a top story any longer. Until the next guy gets shot, and they may not even cover that because of all the things going on with the race.
But in regards to you, Woody,
yes, sir.
When you walk out, when a cop walks outside and catches you urinating on his tire, and you singing "F the police," right. You screaming "F the police," eating bacon at the same time, then of course they're gonna beat you.
You're right.
I would beat you.
I can talk my way out of that one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Colin Kaepernick, we support you, even if we don't support the way you're doing it. We support you because you are taking a stand, and you are being brave, because you have something to lose in this. And when someone has enough, because at the end of the day, if you look at the essence of what he's saying, the essence of what he's saying is that I am trying to use, by my imperfect means, any way that I have, in order to help bring about social justice and awareness.
In America.
If you're able
in America.
Not
black people, not white people.
In America.
In America.
In totality. And then, if you think about it, really, really think about it. Think about Training Day. Think about
Training Day
Bad
with
Lieutenant.
Denzel Washington?
Yeah, Bad Lieutenant. Think about
I don't know that one.
True Romance. All these different movies and stuff and TV shows that have been built around bad cops. You think it's complete fiction?
The Rampart. I was waiting for the correlation.
The Rampart controversy that happened out here.
That was a real deal.
That's real. This is stuff that really happens.
Setting up, planning, merchandise, and
the stuff that happened in Ferguson, wherein they were using the backs of poor people to help fund the city government. this really happens, and so
really
because
happened,
this
and
really
it was identified
happens
by the Department of Justice.
Yeah,
it really did go down.
because this really happens. You cannot expect for someone not to speak on it, or when someone does speak on it with a spotlight put on them, it's listen to the message and not so much the messenger.
That's
the
right.
message.
Listen to the message.
Yeah.
And protest is not everyone's going to agree with protest.
Mm-hmm.
If you drive down the streets of Los Angeles, there's people protesting against their jobs. You may not agree, but they're protesting, and that is America. That is the United States of America. The military has fought for that right.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Kaepernick and anyone else who wants to protest has that right to do so. So, hey, folks, listen to the message and keep it moving. Stop with the hate speeches. Stop with making this a black or white issue. Stop with burning his jerseys. It's not necessary. Calmeth downeth. All right?
Yeah,
so
well,
that's all I got to say about that.
Well, thank you, Woody. Thank you. So as we move on, before I go further, I want to stop right now to give one of our promotions to NanoBright.
NanoBright. Yeah, I like that NanoBright.
It is good. I'm telling you. NanoBright is a skin cream is basically vitamins for your skin. The way it's engineered, in a lot of skincare products now, they use vitamin C and B12, all these nutrients that they just discovered really help to revitalize skin and to kind of bring forth the new nourished skin that we sometimes get depleted through toxins in the air and through the foods we eat and sun damage.
And it's all natural too, right?
This has organic ingredients and it works. I've been using it for the past few weeks and it works fantastic. If you have age spots because you're getting older, if you have hyperpigmentation because people with olive or darker skin, if we get cut, it'll turn darker in that specific area, or even acne scars and things like that.
Yes.
This stuff helps alleviate that.
It's amazing.
Use it twice a day for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm telling you, you will be pleasantly surprised by this process.
Ron was ugly 3 weeks ago.
I was ugly 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
And
Not
I'm
no
trying
more.
to get Woody to, dim down his ugly meter, but he just likes it.
I just started on NanoBright. Give me a couple of weeks.
It helps.
Man. It takes
will
3
help
weeks.
even out your skin, and it's all natural. There's no sort of bleaching stuff, and that's not where it's at. We're proud of our brown skin.
Yes.
It's no sort of bleaching. It's no sort of irritants.
No
it's
Michael Jackson
fantastic.
stuff here.
No MJ today.
Yeah.
So
But seriously,
NanoBright. Now,
folks,
if you guys get NanoBright. And go to www, or just, I'm sorry, no www, just go to nanobright.com. That's NanoBryte.com. Promo code SKIN, and you get $10 off, which I think takes it to $20. Okay? NanoBryte.com. Promo code SKIN, get $10 off, which will take you to $20. And what I'm going to tell you is you need to get 2 bottles, because if you get one, we had quite a few people order them last week, I understand, because the manufacturer told me that we had quite a few. If you get one, you're going to be so ticked off that you got one, because when you're done with it, you're going to want to keep your 2 times a day regimen going. And
right.
so get
right.
2 of them. All
Yeah,
right?
right.
So on to the next. So Donald Trump is going to Detroit.
Donald. My man
He's going to my home.
Going to the D-Town.
And
all the black
I
folks.
can't remember the name of the bishop that he's going to interview with. So he's going to have an interview. Jarvis, do you know the name of the bishop in Detroit that he's going to interview?
When is that interview?
It's coming up.
Okay.
So he's going to go to Detroit and visit a black church. So Donald Trump has been
Good for you.
really
hey,
trying.
y'all, don't steal his rims off his limo, okay?
Come on, man.
That's what I'm just saying.
Oh, we got a call coming through. Caller, can you tell us your name and what city you're calling in from, please?
My name is Archie Lewis. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Hi, Archie. Thank you for calling.
How you doing, Archie?
I'm good, and you?
We're
We're doing
well.
very well.
Okay, give me your topic. Give me your question or comment. I'd love to hear from you.
My question, my topic's about the whole Colin Kaepernick standing for the national anthem.
Okay.
And like Uncle Ron, you know me pretty much. I went to school here. You know my uncle, so I had the same experience when I came to the United States, because I never stood for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Uh-huh.
And my homeroom teacher took an exception to that by telling me to go back to where I'm from. So I'm not going to respect the national anthem.
That's not right.
And it became a big thing in my school, because I ended up going as far as to the principal and saying that he's pretty much like being a racist to me for telling me go back to your country since you don't want to stand for the national anthem. And I told him straight up, according to the Constitution, I don't have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if I don't have to stand for it? And me and he just went back and forth the whole semester and became a huge thing. So I think that people are just taking it out of proportion, and the fact that they are making a big deal out of it, saying, "Oh, we should burn him. This contract should be terminated." I just find that a little bit outrageous and a little bit stupid.
Yeah,
Because,
Archie, let me ask you a question. Why did you not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Was it Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem?
The Pledge of Allegiance. When I came here, I used to stand for it, and then I realized kids who were born here, kids who grew up here, don't stand for it either. So that was the problem with my homeroom teacher, and he told me, "Oh, why are you not standing?" I was like, "Why would I stand when somebody who was born in this country, who grew up from this country, who are from this country, don't stand? There's a kid standing next to me. Why didn't you ask him not to stand?
Interesting.
Why didn't you ask another kid not to stand? Why are you asking me? Why are you pointing me out?" And he was like, "What are you trying to do?" I was like, "Pretty much you're trying to point me out because of racial profiling, because I'm black, or because I'm not from the United States."
Okay, so you're in support of Colin.
Yeah. You know, Archie, thank you so much. And this is Archie. Okay, I know. Thank you so much for your call, Archie.
Thanks,
we
Archie.
really appreciate it. Okay,
Call again
keep
sometime.
listening. Have a great weekend.
Enjoy your holiday.
Okay,
bye-bye.
So Archie brought us some things, and I understand it comes down to a couple of things. It comes down to personal preference and just as me. Also, there is value in patriotism, so we don't want to take away from that. If someone chooses not to stand for their own personal reasons, that's their own personal reason. Me, I would choose to do it just because I do consider myself a patriot, and I don't consider myself separate from the United States, because there would be no United States if there weren't us as a collective, meaning African Americans and our experience and our contributions, and it's all one-on-one. So I think that this is just as much my country as anyone else's, and that's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, if you're a U.S. citizen,
because
you're a
of
U.S.
that,
citizen.
Yeah, so whatever the founders intended at the beginning when they wrote the Declaration of Independence and wrote our Constitution, whatever they thought then, I think that the miracle about those words is that they wrote something greater than themselves. They wrote something that went beyond what their personal faults are.
I'm always amazed by that, because they did write a Constitution that affected all people, for all people, even though at the time all people weren't represented. And so, like you said, it was outside themselves.
They wrote something that exceeded them, because they had this idea of America, and whatever their certain mortal faculties couldn't comprehend at the time, because at that time I'm almost guaranteed that none of them foresaw, a few hundred years later there would be a President Obama. Yeah. The point is this, or that we will have the diverse sort of country that we have, or that our economy, they didn't have a time machine. So the point is that the fact that we are able to be here today and have such a diverse country, to have the beacon of light throughout the world, is largely dependent upon those words that they wrote that were beyond their own limitations.
And the Pledge of Allegiance, says one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So some Americans are trying to have that pulled out of the Pledge of Allegiance, and which to me is a bigger issue than what Colin Kaepernick is standing for.
Yeah, so like I said, to put a button on the Colin Kaepernick topic for today, to each his own. Do what you want to do. I know what I feel.
Protest.
Because you never know whatever your personal protests are in regards to anything. That's one of the things that make this country great, because if you tried to pull that ish in North Korea, we wouldn't see you again.
You'd be gone.
If you tried to pull that ish, and maybe even in Russia, you may not see you again.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are able to do that here just
speaks volumes for America.
To volumes as to how great of a country this is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about Trump in Detroit. So Trump in Detroit, the pastor he's going to see is Bishop Wayne T. Jackson in Detroit. And Bishop Wayne T. Jackson seems like a pretty colorful character. He's been all over the media speaking on his upcoming interview with Donald Trump, and also the fact that the questions were served to Donald Trump ahead of time so he can formulate his answers.
And Donald Trump's party chose Wayne T. Jackson. They reached out to him.
Yeah, so that says something as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's anything like, since that part of it has been getting so much media scrutiny, I understand that the pastor is saying that he is now going to begin to tweak his questions quite a bit so that Donald Trump
he should.
won't. Yeah, yes, he should, as he should have from the beginning. But he was probably so happy to have gotten Donald Trump's attention, so that he would get this interview.
There needs to be some hard-hitting questions there.
Yeah, I don't know how hard-hitting it's going to be or how forthcoming Donald Trump is going to be with his answers. The point is that the fact that he's attempting it, maybe kudos in that regards. But
as long as he doesn't belittle us like he did before, as if all black people. I must not be black, because the way he described black folks, I'm like, who are you talking to? I don't know.
You're talking about Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, we spoke about that last week. Not every, he has.
So if he goes in with that same kind of tone,
like I said, I think it was last week. I told him, Good Times was a series. It wasn't a documentary. Yeah, all the project stuff you're seeing, that's not the entirety of the black experience. Not every black person comes up in, dodging bullets. It's just not real life. Now, the same sort of urban environment that's dealt with in some inner city communities, you deal with those same things in some white communities. You deal with those same things in Appalachia. You deal with sometimes even more drug addiction in certain parts of the country within white America than what you do in their African American counterparts. So poverty is the key. It's not about the racial division, it's about poverty. If he said something that was going to help alleviate poverty, then we'll probably have more people on this team, because poverty is the beginning of all these social ills. When the people are desperate and people don't have any means or hope, sometimes these vices take hold. And these vices can become systematic and part of that specific subculture. And it doesn't matter. Even here in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of opulence and a lot of prosperity, once you get down into certain parts of the socioeconomic strata, that's when you see more compartmentalization. That's when you get to see more tribalism.
Yeah, it's like a pyramid.
It's like a pyramid. Like I said it on the show a million times if you heard it before. When you start to get down into less economically mobile situations, then you find populations start to become more homogenous. You'll see most Latinos may be in East LA. Most blacks may be in South LA.
Most Koreans in Koreatown.
Yeah, but Koreatown is coming up.
It is coming up, and they keep the money in the community. Anyway, Trump going to Detroit. So let's wait and see I'm not sure when that. Do we know when that is actually going down? Okay, so I want to hear the aftermath. I'm sure I won't be able to watch it live, but I'm sure I'll get a recap on the news. But he has to understand that, black people are not monolithic. Like we are so many different shades in economic, situations that, you can't speak to us as, the way you are. I mean, Ron, myself, Jarvis, the people we know, we all have different backgrounds. I mean, there's folks that are African American that you don't know are African American. I mean, color has, the state of California, white males in California are now the minority because it's so brown, and the country is fastly becoming brown, and so you can't lump everyone into one bucket and speak to them as if they can identify with what you're saying.
One of the main things that can add evidence to what you're saying, Woody, is the fact that we have a diverse thought. We have not all black people are Democrats. We know about Omarosa is one of Trump's chief surrogates. We have Larry Elder, who I do not agree with at all, who's a prominent conservative talk show host. We have, as a matter of fact, going to that, Latinos for Trump. Jarvis, you're going to have to cue up this video in a second. Latinos for Trump, Marco Gutierrez is a member of the Latinos for Trump. And he said something that was so incendiary. And if you know me and you know anything about me as a person and my inner circle, I don't like any sort of racial discrimination. I don't like any sort of racial jokes. I don't like that, because odds are I have close friends that may fit that. And so if you're the type that do that, then that means if I went out in the room, you may say something about black people.
Right.
So I don't feel that at all. But one of the things about the diverse thought and how we have a Larry Elder on our side, when I say on our side, I mean being African American, but it speaks stuff that's straight up crazy. Or we have
he's not on our side.
When I mean our side, I mean he's part of our culture, but his
skin is brown.
He's part of our culture. He's African American, but he doesn't I don't subscribe to anything he says. Well, the same thing is for all ethnicity. Nobody's is homogenous and and it's just a monolithic group, as what he was saying. So Marco Gutierrez with Latinos for Trump proves that not all Latinos are against Trump, but this dude went way off to the left. Jarvis, play that video for me, please.
Roll the clip, please.
Here. We need to reform.
What problems are you talking about?
My culture is a very dominant culture, and it's imposing and it's causing problems. If you don't do something about it, you're going to have taco trucks every corner.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I have to let Adriano in here.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that means, and I'm almost afraid to ask.
I'm offended.
I'll tell you what that means. The
says,
Spanish never conquered Mexico.
Okay, so that says it all. That shows that there are fools in every culture. There are jerks and there are fools in every culture. Number one, first and foremost, tacos are delicious.
I want a taco truck.
I wish
in every
there
corner.
were a taco truck in there.
Yeah.
You know, you can have breakfast tacos. You can have regular tacos.
Fish tacos,
There are even
tacos,
like you can make like dessert
fried
tacos. Dessert
broiled
tacos with like ice cream and stuff in it. You can have dessert tacos.
Shrimp
tacos are
tacos,
amazing.
broiled
So
shrimp,
I wish we got to a
fried
day when we
shrimp.
had taco trucks on every corner.
You know?
But the simple fact
Broiled
that
fish,
he would
shrimp.
say something like that, it just proves my point that people are diverse of thought as well. You cannot take one group of people and lump them all into a specific category. We have in every culture, we have the jerks, we have the good people. Hopefully we have more good, sensible people. That dude, in my opinion, is a straight up jerk.
Yes,
and maybe
sir.
he has some self-hatred stuff going on to even say something that wild.
We're
That's wild.
gonna talk.
He said
is
we're gonna have taco
hilarious.
trucks now. I know you didn't just put up that graphic, Jarvis. He got President Obama to eat
Eating
tacos. You know?
We love tacos.
I love tacos.
Me too,
Anyone that
man.
knows me knows I love tacos.
That's right.
And shout out to Vargas Taco Bread in Saginaw, Michigan. I haven't
Yes.
forgotten about you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, isn't that crazy?
That was the ridiculous, man. I hadn't seen that. That's,
But for whatever reason, some people, maybe it's just because it's easier to explain by the media, they like to lump everyone into specific groups.
yeah,
I mean, they just, I don't know why. They just love to
like an
say, we want
antagonistic kind of
everybody,
thing.
because maybe it's easier for them to well, they need the black vote. No, what you need is that you need to have policies that will make people want to vote for you, because the policies will affect you, especially in your pocket, and then it may be disproportionately effective or have an impact on certain communities, like with justice. You know, real justice reform, because more people are adversely affected by the current justice system, of more people of color, I should say, are adversely affected.
Yes.
Then obviously those types of reforms are going to improve the lives of those people that are more affected by it.
it's like mandatory sentencing, right? So they had the 3 strikes, you're outlaw, right? Which affected mostly folks in the inner city and the urban cities, which were African American, and they, of course, they filled the jails a lot further. With this Brock Turner situation, where he raped this girl, the Stanford University swimmer, right? Where he raped this girl unbelievably, right? And so he gets 6 months, sentenced to 6 months. He gets out in 3 months for good behavior. Anyway, so now everyone is rushing to the legislation table to try to put forth legislation to make it mandatory sentencing for rape. Now, that's going to affect folks who cannot get proper representation, which are African Americans in the inner city, Donald Trump, those who are in urban cities. And that's just, we're going to fall right back into the same situation that Clinton put us in with his policies. So that's not the answer. So don't rush to judgment and try to come up with this legislation with this mandatory sentencing situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. So with mandatory sentencing, and the thing is that you got to remember, the 1960s wasn't that long ago. You know,
Yeah.
but Woody was born in the 60s,
50s.
in the 50s. It wasn't that long ago, and just remember that we're talking about institutional and structural changes that affect certain communities, and that's just the legacy of racism in our country. But we are improving, but these are the growing pains that are needed in order to get over that final hump. to get over that final hump, we need to have these changes in legislation, in justice, and things like that, because it's going to have a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So if you have a ripple effect wherein the justice system is made more fair and equitable, then you won't have situations where you have a kid that grows up poor, pretty much has a dropout to prison rate, that's astronomical, and thus there are no men in the home, and then it's a breakdown of the family structure, and then if it's a breakdown of the family structure, and then housing is not equitable, and you don't have true fair housing, and then the schools are paid by property taxes by homeowners, but you don't have any homeowners,
You don't have,
and
because
then
they
so
own
you don't have
properties.
and then you don't have good schools,
Right.
and it's just a perpetual cycle. So we fix these institutional problems, then we're going to see a lot of these social ills change. We have the capacity and the ability to be such a great country if we just fix these institutional problems. But remember this, and never forget this. There's always people making money on things as they are. And if things change, then they won't make any money. Just think about if the fact that we were able to alleviate poverty, or at least make such a dent into poverty so that you won't have people committing crimes out of desperation. That means you will have fewer people getting on drugs, because lots of times they get on drugs just so they can escape.
And where the drugs
to
coming
not
from.
forget where, to forget of what their situation has put them in, so they take drugs. So that means no drugs. If you don't have any drugs, then lots of times you don't have much crime. If you don't have much crime, you don't have overflowing prisons. If you don't have overflowing prisons, you don't need prison guards. You don't have to build these multi-million-dollar prisons. You don't have to have all the legislation built on fear. It's money being made on this. You won't have these private prisons that make money and need bodies to go into these bunks so they can get paid. It's a complex. It's a entire economic ecosystem that's set up for all of these ills that take place. So we fix these things.
Yeah,
We don't have to worry about it as much.
It's set up. The system is set up for people to fail, and the only way the system works is if they do so. So you have to create an environment, unfortunately, to which people go to jail, because, as you said, they're privately held jails.
There's
And the
jobs involved.
There's jobs. There's economics involved, and most of the folks are minorities that are in jail for. Really. This guy Brock Turner gets out of jail in 3 months for brutally raping this girl. Now, I have to say, folks, draw the picture. Let's say Brock Turner went out and got a suntan in Africa and dyed his hair black.
Did you say why he had to go all the way to Africa?
Because I want him to get super brown, right? And so he put in some black contact lenses, and then he went to trial. Do you think the outcome would be the same? I'm just saying. I
don't think he'll get any darker, and if he got a suntan in Africa, than he would do if he went to Miami.
It's a hypothetical situation.
Africa.
Stay with me. Stick with me. I think everybody, you guys know what I'm saying.
That's my brother Woody right there. Yeah. So anyway, so this is like Woody is very artfully explaining the inequities in our justice system that needs to be corrected. And if it's so, but I said justice system, poverty is huge to me. Poverty and education, if we were able to deal with that.
It's so systemic, man. There has to be so many changes, and we have to work together. We're the greatest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to make change, we could make change. If we spend billions of dollars going to war in countries abroad, removing a leader of a country, why can't we spend $100 million in an inner city to revitalize it and turn it around?
I'm going to tell you why. Because
we already know why. Because
exactly,
you just explained it.
Exactly. It's baked into the economy. It's part of the GDP, because you need to have police officers. You need to buy the equipment for police officers. You need to buy weapons. It's so many industries that profit on the poor. Think about payday loans. You don't see any payday loans. We don't see any payday loan places in Beverly Hills.
No, but they're all in the hood.
But they're all in the hood because people are profiting on poor and poverty. And it's because that's part, and those are jobs that are created doing that. Because that's the case, you're going to have so many things that happen to try to keep the status quo, because there's economic benefit for some based on that.
And that's why we need a government that works.
Absolutely.
So if Hillary, because I'm not even going to say Trump,
mm-hmm.
Hillary, if you can get in there and change some things, that would be fantastic. And back to Hillary and the debate that's coming up on September 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Hats off to my man Lester Holt, who is the first African American to host NBC News. He's NBC News anchor. He's going to also
he's been there for the longest
He's
time.
been there for the longest, and he got the job because the other guy messed up and lied about some.
Brian Williams.
Yeah. He
I like
misrepresented
Brian Williams.
himself.
Yeah,
I did like him.
I still like Brian Williams.
But he's out. So he's going to moderate the presidential debate on September 26th.
Woody, you're heartless.
Hats off to my man Lester Holt. Great job there, and congratulations on being the first.
Yeah, well, he's been that's not new news. He's been the first for about over a year. But check this out. But I get your point.
Not quite a year, but yes, he is the first.
So check this out.
So time doesn't really matter. Obama was the first. We're still talking about that.
Woody. Hey, check this out, though. We need to go and do Word of the Mother. We need to change the tone. Because this is going to be a holiday weekend.
Word to the Mother.
Yeah,
Jarvis, are we ready for Word to the Mother?
Jarvis, are you ready for it?
I don't even know if I'm ready.
Stay ready.
Oh, man. You're going to have to slide me a little.
Jarvis, you guys know that is an original track brought to you by Jarvis. Essex.
Yes. No, that's not. That's my man Johnny Gill.
One of the greatest to ever do it. That's Jarvis, man. Jarvis is put on
Jarvis Gill?
That's Jarvis Gill right there.
We just say Jay Gill.
Yeah, Jay
in
Gill.
the hizzy. Okay, for those of you who don't know what we're doing here, this is the Word to Your Mother. So, Ron, I give Ron 5 vocabulary words. You know, he claims to be quite the wordsmith. And so occasionally I'll quiz him. So I have 5 words.
Claim to be quite the wordsmith? I just know stuff. I just know stuff.
I will.
That's why I have gray hair. I know stuff.
I will spell them. He will pronounce them and give me the definition. That's how tight this dude is.
Listen, you notice Jarvis how he wants me to pronounce them now because he butchers them.
You got to pronounce them. Yeah, no.
You got to pronounce them. That's part of the comedy, Woody.
Hey, this is my game. All right.
Woody sometimes pronounces stuff as if he's having an epileptic seizure.
Whatever, dude.
As he's speaking. Like
here we
he's
go.
Catching
First word. Are you ready,
tongue.
Jarvis?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Don't have a seizure while you're trying to
INTEGRAL.
Get him a popsicle stick.
You got
Don't
that
swallow
one?
your tongue. What's the name of it?
Okay.
Say again.
INTEGRAL.
Integral.
Right.
That's like critical. That's necessary. It's critical. It's integral.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Word to your mother.
Scrupulous. Oh, I was supposed to spell it for you. What's scrupulous?
I know the word scrupulous.
Yeah.
Scrupulous is like
we all know that shit.
Very deliberate, like
I'm start
anal retentive, very attentive stuff.
That was
like
a layup. That was a layup. So he got that
Word to
right.
your mother.
All right.
Word to your mother.
Okay, I'm gonna just SYMBIOSIS. SYMBIOSIS.
Symbiosis. That's good. You know, and that's apropos for this show because I always say about America and China have a symbiotic relationship. Symbiosis is basically like a codependency. It's like it's either like the relationship sometimes between people, like a codependent people, or it could be between countries or organizations. And I say the U.S. and China are in a symbiotic relationship.
That's right.
They need us to buy their goods.
He's right. He is correct, Jarvis. Yeah.
You know I can go off on
the
that.
Relationship between
Woody doesn't like when I kick knowledge like that. So
drop knowledge.
Okay.
All right. So KINESIS.
Kinesis. That's movement.
An undirected movement of a cell or organism.
I always thought about it as just movement, but I always thought about it
That's wrong, though, bro.
Movement. I said movement. No.
Hey,
that's
all
movement.
Right, moving quite along here.
No, hold on. Wait. I said movement, and that's movement.
Yeah, that's a word in the sentence, though. I mean, it's a movement of what? Cell or organism. Okay, what's next? Okay,
No. Go back. You're trying to gloss over, man. You know, I like to try to get it right.
All right.
I've always looked at it like almost like kinetic energy. So kinesis is movement.
Okay. Yes.
So that should be right. And you said what you said the definition.
Do we have a half
was?
buzz, half bell? No.
What was that? What was the definition again? Tell me the definition. What's the definition?
It's an undirected movement.
Movement. There you go.
Of a cell or organism.
I got it.
All right. Well, anyway. CONSTANCY. CONSTANCY. Got that?
Constancy. Folks? You know what? That's one of my bugaboos.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, listen, depending on that was her name. So depending on the circles you run in, there's consistency and constancy, and people misuse it. I want you guys to listen to this. So constancy.
Oh boy.
Seriously.
Going to school.
Consistency, we say like, I want someone with some consistency. Consistency is like the texture of like a fluid, like water.
Is that the word we're talking about?
Whether or not, listen. No, this is important because I want my young viewers to know this.
Okay.
Consistency is like something like the texture of a liquid. Like if you have a thicker pancake batter, the consistency is one thing. If you have water, it's a different consistency. So people say I want something consistent. Constancy is sometimes the word that you want to use. So a constancy is more like the quality and faithfulness of somebody. That's what constancy is, right?
Okay, good.
So sometimes instead of using consistency, we need to use constancy.
And if Ron was Raquel, we would have went out on a date. Okay.
Yeah. Word to your mother.
All right, man. Good
Word
job.
to your mother.
There you go. See, that's one of my things because that's true. And you know how I really, believe it or not, Mitt Romney, when he had his, when he accepted the Republican nomination to the mother. Okay.
I think he fumbled that.
Hey,
Jarvis.
I'm over here kicking it, man. Jarvis over there. I don't know what you watching.
I don't know what he's doing
So anyway, Mitt Romney, he used constancy, and I was impressed. But he's a smart guy, but he's used constancy, and I was like, wow, that's one of the few people that I've seen during the speech use constancy instead of consistency when it actually mattered.
Okay. But he still lost, so I guess it didn't matter.
Man, I'm just talking about the word he used. I'm not saying that I'm a Mitt Romney fan or anything.
Hey, man, did you the SpaceX explosion? You know, I'm kind of a Star Trek, a NASA kind of guy, and I was really looking forward to SpaceX doing their thing because they can launch and then land on a barge in the ocean. You know, so that's pretty incredible. And they were supposed to, but anyway, the rocket exploded during some tests.
Were any humans die?
No, it was no one. No one was inside the ship. It was just kind of one of these preparation test runs that they do. And but I think they did have NASA payload that was supposed to restock the space station, and it went ablaze, a big kaboom. So that kind of sets them back a little bit. And that, of course, that's Elon Musk, Tesla,
who is a brilliant dude.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, he's one of my heroes. But you know what? Lots of times those really brilliant guys like that, and especially the ultra rich, they don't like splurge too much. Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett
got a suit on every day.
He had the same suit on, and it's like that's one of the reasons why I like them.
Warren Buffett eats cheeseburgers.
It's because they just but they just, it's like they understand what matters and what
that
doesn't.
dude is changing the world. Look at the Tesla. Okay, so he just bought Sun City or Sun Solar. Elon Musk or Tesla, actually, they're in the process.
Why are you pointing to stuff, Woody? Like you trying to make some real?
Because this helps me remember. So Sun Solar. Elon Musk is buying Sun Solar, and they're coming out with a solar roof for development for people who develop buildings and homes. So
we don't have solar. You mean
so
solar panels?
You won't have to get the solar panel.
The roof, the
entire
whole roof would be solar.
Will be solar, yeah. And that's Elon Musk. That's why he bought Sun. That's why he's in the process of purchasing. It's not complete yet.
Yeah, he's definitely a genius.
Dude is a genius.
He's one of my personal heroes.
So those looking for a job, they are actually hiring at Sun Solar. So Google it. And
they're not hiring for
sales.
But it's not anyone hiring to ride on the rocket, right?
Nah, dude,
okay, good.
That's free.
Hey, check this out. You said that's free. Hey, so before we only have a few minutes left, so I have to bring up my primary sponsor.
Yes,
my day one sponsor, Javago Watches.
Javago.
Okay, I got one on too, of course.
Yeah.
Boom. This is called the Gliese. Javago Watches, premium watch brand in men's and women's fashions. Go check them out at www.javagowatches.com. Check out the style you like, and then either buy it right there online, or you can go to Amazon and get it at a discount.
Yeah.
But Javago Watches, fine timepieces. They're classic timepieces. They have anything from the more modest type of fashion to the more opulent and what I say is the flashy type of stuff.
That's right.
They've got it all. Go Javago Watches is fantastic. Also, I have to give another shout out, which I will do every week, to Hope for Adam, to my great friend Mr. Adam Creef, who's looking for a match in his efforts to find a bone marrow donor.
Yeah.
The process is super simple. It's just a cotton swab to the cheek. It takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes. And I actually understand that the transfusion process, if you are a match, to donate your blood, is almost like just giving blood. They can somehow extract it out of the blood you give in order to extract what it needs to give him a bone marrow transplant.
Yes.
So the technology has come a long way.
But don't give blood if you got Zika, all right?
Adam We're pulling for you. You know, we love you, and we're going to continue to put the word out there. Go out there and see if you're a match for Adam. Okay? Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and starting your holiday weekend with us. Don't drink and drive.
Please don't.
You
Please
can Uber
don't.
and drink.
Yeah, you can get drunk and
You
Uber.
can have your homeboy drive and you drink.
Yeah, that's right.
You can have your girlfriend drive and you drink.
Yeah.
You know, or you can just walk.
Or you can walk.
And you can just,
Or you can stay at home.
Yeah. You can stay at home.
Have a barbecue. And if you do, invite me.
Yeah, but I don't eat barbecue. You don't eat barbecue anymore.
I don't
either.
eat barbecue either, but, just invite me. That's just the
But
atmosphere.
anyway, hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Focus with Ron Frierson.
Yes.
Signing out for my boy, Woody Wilson.
All right, bro.
Have a great weekend, guys. And we'll
Peace,
see you
love,
next week.
and happiness.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.